issues coming into it. So we'll just go quickly to the orbit and introduce our team there. And welcome to everybody joining us now on the Formula E zone as we are underway for qualifying. 4 minutes to go in this first session. Cassidy, Gunther, Bohemian, NATO are the four currently inside it, with Tinkton, Maloney, Barnard, Bird, De Vries, Muller and Rowland still waiting to come through. Alongside me in the commentary box is Jess Ball. And Jess, we're into the session now and it's so far looking so good because we've got a real mix of drivers who could go through and I'm looking forward to it.
I am looking forward to it. Hello, everyone. I haven't been on Formula E Zone for a very long time, so it's good to be here. I couldn't miss the finale because I'm free, finally. I've been busy the last few months, but I'm here now. I think there's going to be some shockers, I think, Josh, in this qualifying session. I think we could see, like, the ones who usually do well in qualifying potentially get knocked out as well. But it's so tight between the cut-off point at the moment, it's going to be very intense. But the track, as different as XL, it can ramp up very quickly.
Apparently as well, you can see how much we're running around this weekend. The graphics gone back to what it was. So give me a second to put the London E-Prix hashtag in the top of the board. Thanks, Ed. There we go. I rewrote that and then everything went nuts because we've changed how our system works to be in HD this weekend. So, yeah.
It looks so nice.
It does look
so nice
better.
with HD.
Well, finally, as Roland goes up to third place, our OBS is updated, which means we can now run 180p on my computer. That's so bad, with very little errors. So we've been able to make that upgrade. But ahead of a new PC I'm getting next year. So that's good.
Nice.
So, coming through with 3 minutes to go of this session, Cassidy still going to be on a 1:08.955. That's still on the benchmark as they come across it as well. Ed will be joining us later. I don't know. Actually, I don't know if Ed's with us for the race or not. I presume he is to come into it.
I will check the spreadsheet because I know he's filled in the availability form.
Oh well, there we are then.
Like a good commentator should do. Yes, Ed is here for the race.
Excellent. So we'll have him on later on as well. Everything's so all over the place as well, and just trying to do.
We've got more people available as well. It's great.
Yeah, it's actually working for once. But the one thing that isn't great is the fact that this commentator is not good. I'm not very well. So I've got that toothache again on the other side. So
oh no, not again.
Yes. So if you're wondering why I'm a bit up and down at the moment, you know why. I'll be up in a second to help for the rest of quali. Oh, great. So they'll be actually here soon as well. Sadly, as we say, it's audio only for those two at the moment, thanks to having to do World Superbikes at the same time. In about 10 minutes, though, Formula 2 will start, and Omi will be in the commentary box, but he will not be leading the commentary. Jake Sanson is going to take us through the F2 sprint race. Can't not. Me and Omi both agreed he's here. We can't not let him throw the bone and give him the world feed. So that's
and he's doing an IndyCar tomorrow as well.
Yes, he's leading our IndyCar coverage tomorrow as well, helping me out a lot this weekend, and it's going to be fun to have him in as well. He's also
our newest manager.
Yes, yeah, he's got me in as a manager. Don't think he knows that yet. I'll have to remind him. It's going to be a lot of fun. So,
does Matthew Owens know?
Yes, he does. Yeah, he was in the meeting.
Okay, good. So the only one that doesn't know is Ed then. Okay,
Yeah.
Not Ed. Tansen.
Yeah.
What have we done with the controls, man?
Well,
Sam Bird, in what is his last race weekend in Formula E, is not happy as he gets passed by Norman Nato as well in the blue Leaf livery. Not to confuse with the blue of the McLaren livery, but McLaren still have the orange halo to identify themselves differently as well. Oh, and Nato's been held up as well.
That's not ideal. I think there's a few people that were on in-laps as well. I think that's NATO done. Yep, he's pulled off. Was that the Penske?
Yeah, I think it was, yeah. So, looking down the order...
Gunther. Yeah, it was Gunther.
Maximilian Gunther in second position. 18 thousandths off the pace of Cassidy at the moment, but he's held up. And they don't like that. That would be impeding in qualifying. to come into it, as Barnard still has the position. Through the chicane, he comes at the back of the track now. Just puts the throttle back down to open it up once more. I think it's going to be quite an interesting qualifying we've got coming up as the flag is out now. We'll hand back to our colleagues at the World Feed and into the brakes as well. As we've got an hour and 43 to take you through this. It's a bit of a melee today. Oh, big of a slide there from Barnard. Bird still trying to have access to control and just see if he can do anything, see if he can pull anything together. But so far, so good as he comes across the line then. Barnard makes it 5th, doesn't go through. Roland, our champion, in 6th place. Bohemi in 7th. Maloney goes 11th. Remember, there's still the team's championship to be decided. Nissan still in a battle with Jaguar and Diaz Penske in that. As Bird goes into 9th place. Here comes Roland, our champion. Does he manage to break through inside the top 4? No, he doesn't. Roland goes 5th. Gunther, though, might just take the fastest time. No, he doesn't. Stays 2nd fastest. Nato goes 7th, and I think that's it, because I think Muller's going to improve up the order. Muller goes 5th, so there we go. So it's Cassidy, Gunther, De Vries, Tictum, the top 4 going through. Muller, Roland, Barnard, Nato, Bohemi, Bird, and Maloney are out of the session, Jess.
Tictum just made it as well, and it's a track. The only stat he hasn't got is pole position, as Tom Brooks was talking about in the broadcast. So his stats trying to get pole this season is still possible. So good on Tictum. I was happy with Cassidy's lap, though. It looked very planted, and he said it earlier on in the session as well. So this is looking good for him.
Let's go down then and join our World Feed as we see Porsche, Nissan, and Penske all in the run together to try and hold the advantage. Yeah, as we come into it. Ed Hunter's just joined us in the comment box now as well. Ed, can you hear us? Hello, mate.
Yeah, I can hear you fine, Josh.
Hello. Looking forward to
You don't need your camera on.
Yeah, we've got no
right.
audio. That's just so you can see me, if you like, when I say hello.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, because it's audio only because we're doing World Superbikes on the MacBook, so it's not set up for that way at the moment on the Formula E stream to use that 2-screen, but we'll be fine for later. But how are you finding London, Ed?
I'm not there.
I know you're not there,
not
but what are you
finding
thinking about it?
Well, I've been editing a lot of videos from the rest of Formula E Zone that are there, so I guess I've got some insight. It seems the layout's pretty much the same as last year. There's a couple of different runoff areas here and there. It does seem there's all this Fantastic Four branding everywhere, which is a nice little novelty, I guess. They're sort of renaming attack mode after it, aren't they?
Are they?
The Fantastic Four attack mode zone, which I have to see how. I think if Tom Brooks in commentary is going to have to call it that, I guess we have to call it that as well, just because otherwise it's not fair on him.
Right,
It's got to be mutual embarrassment for all of us as we all chill out to Marvel. But anyway, yeah, Sam Bird looking a little bit annoyed there. What was he saying? It was something like, what have you done with the controls?
Yeah.
It felt like someone moaning about someone changing the thermostat or something. But yeah, he just seems like a man that knows his chances of staying. Oh no, it's Taylor Barnard, isn't it? If they change the helmets because the silly
They're the same
octagon
this weekend.
thing.
Yeah.
Just to make it more confusing for us. But yeah, I thought Sam Bird had got a lot taller there, but no, that was because of Taylor Barnard.
Yeah.
But yeah, this silly octagon with their human rights abusing project, which Neom is also another part of. So gets a bit of brand synergy there. But anyway, there you go. There's your results. Cassidy, Gunther, De Vries, Tictum, your top 3 that got through. So Tictum just squeezing in from Nico Müller. So that's crucial for him because Tictum was sounding very bullish about his chances for pole there.
Okay, let's head down. Oh, hang on. This is Tictum. That's just a replay. Okay, let's head down to the World Feed.
For Group B, but there is Dan Tictum. Great lap time for him. I think EPrix, though, we saw in some bother in the early stages of that session, came into the pits right at the end, but worked out quite nicely for him. Quickest in free practice too, and I think he'll be pretty pleased with the performance of that Mahindra so far this weekend. But let's see whether Nick Cassidy can continue that strong performance. So over to Group B for round 15 for the Marvel Fantastic Four London E-Prix. Pascal Wehrlein, Antonio Felix da Costa, the 2 Tag Heuer Porsches. Vern, Mortara, Dennis, Evans, Van Dorn, Hughes, deGrassi, Freitz, and David Beckman are your 11 drivers that will be going out in this qualifying session. 12 minutes, of course, and 11 drivers out on track, as we saw in Group A. the top 4 will go through and into the dual stage of qualifying. I suppose, David, the one advantage to the fact that Group B are out after Group A is that they'll have seen what the track's like and maybe where they can gain an advantage.
Yeah, and they'll have an idea of looking at the lap time of what that feels like, you know, based on their free practice times. And track just evolves. I actually had breakfast off-site with a couple of guys that turned out to be the truck sweepers who prepare the track ahead of the weekend, and they were saying it was particularly dusty this year, so there's also been some events in the XL that's meant that they had to spend an extra day cleaning and sweeping. So I guess this track is just going to keep evolving. See Ollie Rowland there debriefing. I guess even if he may be somewhat disappointed with that qualifying session, he's got the joy and happiness of the championship.
Yeah, I don't know if that'll be much consolation for him, though, after that
I would accept one bad qualifying for a championship.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit stressed this weekend, as we understand it, so hopefully they're able to turn that car around in time for the E-Prix this afternoon, because qualifying, there's a lot of emphasis on it here at this XL circuit, mainly because, as you can tell, a lot of blind corners, a lot of narrow parts of the circuit, and also, as a result of that, it is very difficult to overtake. So the further up the grid you are, the better opportunity you have. Of course, we've got pit boost to consider this afternoon, as well as the 350 kilowatt all-wheel drive attack mode for the first time as well.
Yep, so attack mode coming in as well. We have that pit boost come in later. And that's going to be the key factor as well. As we get ready for Group B then, Verline, DaCosta, Verne, Mortara, Dennis Evans, Van Dorn, Hughes, Degrassi, Freins, Beckman, the 11 to go through. And I suppose, Ed, the one good thing about having 2 weekends and 2 qualifying formats is that we're going to be in for hopefully 2 different days of shootouts, like we've seen year upon year here in London. It's a track that does offer a bit of difference to its qualifying drivers.
Yeah, it does tend to be that the second day you do get a different bunch of drivers making it through the duels. But usually the best drivers somehow find a way through the top. It just tends to be a habit, even here at the XL. So, yeah, obviously second day, unless it's rained in between, at least on the inside, you'd still have all the rubber still laid down from the previous day as well. But yeah, Mitch Evans, who of course has won this event before, has started on pole before. It'd be interesting to see how he gets on.
Sam's down with the pit lane.
Not sure. Like we made some adjustments for that session, knowing that we were going to go to fresher tyres, and it simply hasn't worked. We need to investigate a bit further, because actually in both free practices this weekend we've been really good. We've been the quickest Nissan. We've gone from the quickest to the slowest, so very disappointing.
I'm sorry to hear that. Thank you.
Yeah, slow to quick. Cassidy in there as well, just giving handshakes to his team.
He was saying quick to slow, though.
Yeah.
That's not what he said. He just did the exact opposite of what Sam just said, Josh.
So Roland walking down the pit lane, our champion for this year. He's going to start this race down on the 8th row of the grid.
So we need to pick up a little bit the pace. Target +8 maximum, +8 maximum.
Target +8.
So +8 then coming in for Verline. As he comes out underneath now, the XL Centre rejoins for the first proper time in open air, which is still around the entryways.
He's next to DLR there.
Yeah. A wonderful little switchback section to the chicane down 10, 11, 12, 13. And back up under the hill, past the electrical gantry. Ironic, actually, isn't
I think
it?
I've just realised why Porsche were telling Verline to up the pace, because now DaCosta's catching him.
Yeah, he's right behind him, and Verline, well, he doesn't want to hold up DaCosta here. That's going to be another factor to hold
Well,
on.
at least there's no love lost between these two after having him free practice in Berlin, though, is there?
Yeah, and DaCosta
Yes.
behind. What do you make of that, Jess, actually, watching in Berlin?
I was gutted I wasn't able to cover it properly, but I mean, there was lots of interesting things going on, but Berlin, for me, there was some things that did not disappoint, but I know there's certain things that certain drivers didn't do, which they shouldn't have done, basically. But not as good as previous years. I think the last few years was really good, but this year, I think could have been better, in my opinion.
Sort of been this story of the season, really, hasn't it, as well? A bit more closer, a bit more better, as everyone's been adjusting to the Evo rules. So that next season's even better. It'll be the last of Gen 3 before we start Gen 4 in Season 13. So to really push it in. Don't forget, we'll be back later on in the year in about 4.5 months' time. We'll be underway again for the Sao Paulo E-Prix. and then we'll be running again for the rest of the year. Back to London as the finale next year. We've got a few more calendars that have been announced. See if it's going to be affecting anything, because Jay Penske not wearing sunglasses for the second race event running, which I find quite entertaining.
Right, do you want to see the damage to it? This is like one of those rock stars that got severely damaged eyes from drug use and just wears glasses to cover it up all the time.
The amount of times I wear sunglasses is unbelievable. Not because of that, because I've got photosensitive eyes, whatever. I can't remember what it's called. You know that one where bright lights suddenly? Yeah, they hurt.
Oh,
vampire syndrome. Okay.
Vampire syndrome, yeah. Literally. It's got a bit better recently, but yeah, I wear sunglasses an awful lot. If you've ever seen me, like Jess, you've seen me out and about.
yeah.
Wearing the sunglasses when I'm doing interviews and that, because it's just easier.
Is it me or is it some bits are a bit damp?
Yeah, there's a few damp patches around. It was a bit rainy this morning, but it should have dried out a bit more than it has done. Evan just got caught out there coming into the undersection of turn 16 for rising up the bump. Back to the infield section. One thing I can't believe is that Karun Chandler and David Coulthard have missed the Belgian Grand Prix to do Formula E in London, especially Coulthard. He's doing London, not Belgium. That's entertaining.
I'm a bit shocked.
Yeah, that's over the line.
He would have been in Channel 4.
Looking good. We need to keep the same pace. Time to looking good. Keep the same pace.
Go on, Ed.
Yeah, I mean, it's a choice between doing live Formula E or Channel 4 highlights.
But don't forget, he's also on F1 TV now, so Coulthard is live.
Oh, that's true. But I think in the UK, at least, nobody can get F1 TV to watch a live Formula 1 because Sky Sports have the rights.
Yes.
The exclusive rights. So
Same with like Italy and Germany.
yeah, so I think it makes perfect sense for David and Karun. And Karun was in Formula E as well, with the very first season. So there is some connection. I think DC, I agree with some of the criticisms that he sounds like he doesn't really know enough about Formula E at times, and that he's not all that interested in it. And it's just, there's motorsport on, I can talk about motorsport. And yeah, I feel like DC is sort of a hand-me-down commentator at this point.
Alan McNish is also there, fellow Scot, who is also...
Again, McNish was the team principal, so yeah, he's got an interest in it, at least, unlike DC.
And he knows a lot of stuff.
DC getting used to it as well. First time he's been here at the Excel Centre. Verline goes second fastest. Montara still top, 108.968. Verline, Evans, Hughes in the mix as well. Jev moves up into fourth place, ahead of Hughes now, actually, as well. So Jev's moved up. Van Dorn, Frines, Beckman, DaCosta, Degrassi and Dennis, as well as Beckman moves up on the timing screen. We'll go back to see that on our TV pictures now. 108. It used to be the longest lap here, Ed, didn't it? With a lot of slow sectors. And now,
one of the longer laps, yeah.
But now it's like 109s, 110s. It's flying.
Yeah, it's sort of standard Formula E time, isn't it? Yeah, sort of around about a minute or minute and 10. But yeah, of course, we did have a few wet sessions here as well in the past, which obviously extends out the lap length as well. But yeah, Evans looking really strong in that first and middle sector here. So let's see if he can displace Mortara's time. The Mahindras actually look pretty handy around here, especially De Vries, who was fastest in FP2.
Do you reckon that we're going to keep the Excel Centre going into Gen 4? Oh, Evans was
Victory from Evans there, sorry. But,
no, that's right.
Are we going to keep it? The problem is that from a sponsorship point of view, as we see Evans go second fastest, just behind Mortara by 21 thousandths of a second. I think the problem is with trying to go to another place is that the sponsors, like you would not get Marvel calling it the Fantastic Four Birmingham E-Prix or Luton E-Prix or something like that. It would have to be London because it's the only city that's sort of got that kind of instant recognizability from a sponsor point of view. Not that, I don't know, Luton is a terrible city or anything. I think Luton's lovely. I've been there. But I don't know why I just picked out at random. But yeah, I feel like your other options are maybe going to Brands Hatch with it, which I don't think would be too bad. I think it's certainly a better alternative than taking it to Silverstone, which I don't think would fit at all, and I really don't think the crowd that goes to watch MotoGP
I would probably do the Brands Hatch Indy.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout, Jess. It's not a bad shout at all. I think there's a couple of other cities that you might be able to take it to, but you sort of need a lot of political factors on your side as well if you're going to close roads and stuff, which XL sort of luckily kind of avoid because this is the one investment company that owns it. So they can pretty much do what they want, which is why they've come up with the indoor-outdoor layout. Verline goes fastest. There we go. 10th quicker than Mortara with just under 2 minutes left on the clock. So yeah, there we go. That's my answer, Josh. I think they would want it to stay. It's just a matter of if Gen 4 outgrows this track and it becomes even more follow the leader, then they might sort of be forced to either make modifications or pack up and go somewhere else.
Okay, something's gone wrong. I need to go fix it up. Let's go down to the boys.
Risk of if somebody shunts into the barrier, runs too deep into a corner, you get a yellow flag out, and then suddenly any improvements are done and dusted. Mortara deciding to go early, so he's going to go on a fast lap with a minute left on the clock.
Yeah, I mean, he could, I think, get 2 laps, couldn't he? So if he wanted to.
Yeah,
he wanted to do 2 in a row.
We haven't seen that much, though, I have to say, in practice. Generally, it's sort of been one and done, you know, and then going back into a build lap. So I wonder whether the tyres have got the capacity to be able to deal with 2 flyers.
Yeah, so they're de-risking themselves from that last lap yellow, aren't they? And he's got himself a nice bit of clear space up to the bus stop chicane.
Got a lot of kickback in that steering in that first phase of the lap. I think picking up actually in Karim what you mentioned about the different surfaces, you get a lot more sort of kickback visuals and having to work the wheel. I think it looks a fun track.
It does look good. This isn't a lap time that's particularly lighting up the timing screens here for Edo Mortara. 10th and a half away. It's not a bad lap time for him relative to the gap between himself and, say, Mitch Evans, who's about the same distance behind. But, yeah, it's not anything to worry too much about at the top of the order. Nato and Cassidy just come up under investigation, by the way, for erratic driving on our timing screen. So let's see whether that comes to anything. They were out in Group A a few moments ago. What about Robin Freitz? We ride on board with the Envision driver. Stays 9th quickest for now. Checker flag comes out then. So this will be a final flyer for a lot of the drivers, including Jake Hughes, who gets it very sideways into turn 14.
Made the apex so nicely into 15, and he's on a good lap so far. His first sector particularly is good. Actually, he's dropped away a little bit in his second sector. So let's see what this does for him. He's 5th at the moment on the bubble. Beckman only 6th. That we know he's not going to make the duels.
This is going to be tight here for Hughes then as he comes to the timeline. He does improve in that final sector. Great end to the lap for him. And Van Dorn's looking pretty handy in the second of the Maseratis as well. He comes to the timing line. What can he do? Up into 3rd place. Knocks out Mitch Evans at this stage then. Verline continues. He's on an absolute flyer. Personal best and fastest overall in sectors 1 and 2. And this is going to rewrite the fastest time that we've seen in Group B qualifying. He comes to the timing line and he goes and stays at the top of the order. Da Costa has not made it through. He's only 8th quickest. That's a disaster for the second of the Tag Heuer Porsches in such a critical weekend for them in the Teams Championships. But Mitch Evans does pull the lap out of the bag and at the moment knocks out Edo Mortara. Mortara's lap isn't anything to write home about either. In fact, he's in the pit lane, so the Mahindra driver does not go forwards. And that means our Fantastic Four is Pascal Verline, Mitch Evans, and then the 2 Maseratis, Jake Hughes and Stoffel Van Dorn. We lose Mortara in the Mahindra, and we lose also Da Costa as well as Jean-Eric Verne. So difficult session for some big names here in Group B. Cyril Blaze, though, will be absolutely delighted with that at the head of Maserati. Both his boys through at the end of that session.
No, they look good, didn't they? That Hughes, we saw on the previous lap, he looked there or thereabouts, then didn't quite put it together. The last lap as well, I think there's more potential. His middle sector wasn't as good as his previous lap, so there's definitely potential in Hughes, I think, when we get the duels.
It's sort of contrasting fortunes there for Florian Modlinger. Pascal Verline through with a 2.5 advantage. Again, another big gap right at the sharp end, but his teammate Da Costa, I mean, he was 9th, he was classified at the
Okay, so just having to set up as there was an issue in Formula 2 for a split second. Apologies for that, but what an end to the session. Verline, Evans, Hughes, Van Dorn going through. Ed, that's all good there.
Yeah, there we go. Great effort by Maserati to get both their cars through. And Verline, who, of course, won here a year ago on this Saturday. Absolutely dominating, 2.5 tenths than anybody else ahead of Mitch Evans in the end there. So, yeah, definitely the Maserati's pulling a surprise, but we did expect Verline, we did expect Evans to be in that top 4 group then, and that's going to make things pretty interesting. Although, of course, as I said, Da Costa missing out, which is bad news for Porsche in the Teams Championship, because it means they've got all their hopes really rest on Pascal Wehrlein here, trying to beat the likes of Oliver Rowland. I forget where NATO qualified in the first session, but I don't think he quite made the duels, if memory serves.
Not to my knowledge. I've got it on the list here, but it's raining outside, so I don't know how to get it. NATO is down in 8th position in the first session.
Okay, so he's sort of roughly...
And he's also under investigation.
Good
That's
point,
true.
Jess, yeah.
With Cassidy for erratic driving.
Wehrlein.
Fastest lap of the session. Really good job, mate. Start to think about what you need for the duels, and we discuss when you come in the garage. Do what you need for the tires as well.
Okay, let's head down to the wall feed.
Instructions from the engineer. No waffle, no pampering, just straight to the point. Keep doing what you need.
Well, he's done a fantastic job there, has Pascal Wehrlein. Let's get confirmation of the Group B qualifying classification then. So Wehrlein makes it through, as well as Mitch Evans. So both Jaguars through from the group stages. And then the two Maseratis in Group B of Jake Hughes and Stoffel Van Dorn also progress forwards. Out of it, though, Eden Mortara, Season 9 champion Jake Dennis, as well as David Beckman, John Byrne, Antonio Vince da Costa in the second of the Tag Heuer Porsches, Robin Bright, and then Lucas Di Grassi also will go no further. So our focus shifts over to the dual stages of qualifying. We'll see the two Jaguar TCS racing cars. In terms of the quarter-final lineup then, it will be Nick de Vries versus Maximilian Günther, first of all. Dan Tickton versus Nick Cassidy, which is a tough one to call. Jake Hughes versus Mitch Evans. And Stoffel Van Dorn versus Pascal Wehrlein. I'm keen to see what's going to happen here in the dual stages of qualifying. As I said, extra power. Gary Eckerhold there just on the left-hand side of Mitch Evans, having a quick debrief with him after the session. He seemed absolutely thrilled with that. And a great way for James Barkley as well, at the Jaguar team, to enter his final weekend as team principal.
Yeah, well, the water isn't too far away from XL, so we expect to see him being thrown in there at the end of it as they thank him for his service and he heads off to pastures new.
Trying to have a quick listen in there to Mitch Evans.
It feels, based on that we're going to see Wehrlein and Cassidy in the final. Or am I going too early?
No, I think I wouldn't bet against it, unless they make a mistake on their flyer. That is the problem with dual stages, isn't it?
They looked pretty solid, both of them, didn't they?
Yeah.
Delivering the lap time.
Yeah, I just like to see what Tickton can do in this. I think, you know, Tickton versus Cassidy, that's you got to say that's stacked against Tickton really. Cassidy's been in tremendous form.
Yeah.
But with the four-wheel drive systems, with we go into the duels, they got more power and four-wheel drive. Some cars react differently, and the driver's got to react as well, because they're going to start arriving at the corners faster. They're going to arrive at the corners, you know, 10, 15 kilometers an hour faster than they were just before.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah, that's probably more challenging than having the four-wheel drive to leave the corner.
Yeah.
So presume that just makes you feel talented.
Yeah, you come out of it. Yeah, more grip. But then you got to remember that you have to brake earlier than you did just before.
Yeah, it's an interesting sort of yin and yang, isn't it, with the four-wheel drive in the dual stages of qualifying. There are 4 previous pole sitters from the XL here in London. Mitch Evans and Cassidy both who were through to the duels. Jake Dennis, who didn't go forward from Group B, and also Stoffel Van Dorn, who we're looking at now, that did. You see, last season here, it wasn't a particularly brilliant weekend to write home about for him. Finishing in 8th, took a victory for the first time since season 8 back in Tokyo. If you remember that one, in the absolute deluge that we had in Japan. It's a stonking result for him. Jake Dennis, again, some whispers going around about where his future lies. Will he be with Andretti next season, despite the fact he's under contract? There are some whispers going around that he could possibly end up in a Jaguar seat next season. We'll see whether that comes to anything. The dual stage of qualifying on the way next.
So the group stages here at the London E-Prix have now been completed, and I've got to say, Alan, your predictions were kind of right. Both Jaguars through to the duels, both Nissans out out of the Jules. I mean, and of course, Pascal Wehrlein as well for Porsche. Let's talk about first, I think, the performance that we're seeing from Pascal Wehrlein, because he just seems to be so consistent in qualifying over the course of this season.
He's super quick. We've known that all the way through his career, but what he's been able to do with Porsche is get that car to exactly what he needs every single time. And when the car is working with him, and I was speaking to Florian Modlinger about this before, when the car's working with him, he is so precise on the steering wheel. Look at this, it's one in and one out, he's straight onto it. He's not fighting the car too much, and it's working very well for him. And where I think he's strong is corners like this, the chicanes where you need to be threading the needle. He carries the momentum, and he's got the real pace behind him.
And again, you know, for Jaguar as well, they've had so much history, so much success here before, both in qualifying and in the race. But I'm slightly nervous that we've now kind of potentially have Pascal Wehrlein, Nick Cassidy and Mitch Evans in a bit of a fight in this race, which I don't think my blood pressure can cope if we remember what happened last year here in London. But a very exciting moment for Jaguar.
Yeah, and as James Barkley said, it's all to play for if you look at the numbers that are available in terms of points on offer here this weekend. Nick Cassidy, I mean, Mitch Evans through as well, but Nick Cassidy is on fire on this track. He's fighting for his 4th pole position out of 5 races here. And if you remember, one of those pole positions was got last year after he didn't do any laps in free practice 3 because he had a brake-by-wire issue. So he knows this track and he can just switch it on. So I think he's definitely going to be one to watch when we get into the Jules in a minute.
Which would just be so brilliant, wouldn't it, for Jaguar at this point to bring home the points. I mean, there is still so much to play for. Over the course of this whole weekend, there are still 94 points up for grabs. So really, it's quite open when it comes to the Teams Championship still.
It's pretty open for the Teams Championships, very open for the Manufacturers Championship. Oh, don't forget, there's also second place in the Drivers' title as well that they're all fighting for. So I think this qualifying is going to be super critical to see how it evolves through the course of today for the race and also for tomorrow.
How much does it mean as a driver to become the runner-up in a championship, Katie?
Nobody wants to be runner-up, but I mean, it's still good. They're probably still getting bonuses from it that they quite want. But I think more interestingly is the teams and manufacturers to look at the relationships between Porsche and the suppliers and also Nissan and their suppliers, because obviously Pascal's likely to qualify quite well, but McLaren and Nissan are going to likely be back down, well, they are down the back of the grid, so they can't really do anything to help each other through. So that's a relationship that I think is going to be really interesting between Cupra and Andretti and Porsche today as well.
And just quickly, I mean, you know, looking at where Oliver Rowland is going to be starting, mid-pack, it's always such a melee, it's hard to stay out of trouble, but realistically, where do you think he could finish in this race?
He's got big elbows. He'll be pushing his way through. He knows that he wants a big result out of today. So, yeah, it's not ideal, but if he gets through the first few laps, I think he'll be strong. Yeah,
we've seen it happen before. Well, that is the summary of where we are at. It is now the 8 fastest drivers that are going to go head-to-head in the Jules, moments away before the quarterfinals. And we'll find out who takes pole position for the first time here in London.
So, looking forward to this one then. Quarterfinals up next for the dual stages of qualifying for round 15 of the ABB FIA Formula E World Championship. It is the Marvel Fantastic Four London E-Prix. Thank you so much for joining us. And thankfully, for the first time since before May, we've got no rain in a Formula E weekend. What an absolute joy it is to say that one. But we've had the 2 group stages of qualifying that have taken place here at the Excel in London. Let's have a look at some highlights from that session. Group A out of the doors first of all, and we saw Dan Tincton coming out onto the circuit for the Cooper Kiro team. We also saw the team Neil McLaren down to that team was struggling in the pre-practice session this morning. All the Nissan Power cars were, as a matter of fact, and we wondered, was it long storm? Could they pull something out the bag in qualifying? Well, the upshot is no Nissan Power cars, all of which were in Group A, progressed forward, including, of course, reigning world champion Oliver Rowland. So a difficult day at the office for them, and of course a crucial weekend for that Nissan team because they want to be in with a chance of the Teams Championship. They currently sit 23 points adrift of Tang Heuer Porsche, and that's not the way they wanted to have started their weekend here in London. Norman Nato again has also been struggling. Sandberg complaining about the balance of the car, dealing with oversteer and understeer and all sorts of steer, really, to be honest with you. But the man of the moment was Nick Cassidy. He put in a stonker of a lap time relatively early in the session to trounce the competition. He'll progress forwards into the quarter-final, which we'll see in a few moments' time. We saw Group B out on track. The two Tag Heuer Porsches went out in formation. Pascal Wehrlein, again, able to extract the maximum out of that car, whilst Antonio Pinto da Costa struggled. Mitch Evans, who was on pole here 12 months ago in London, was also able to get himself into the dual stages for Jaguar. Unfortunately, for Lola Yamaha and for Lucas Di Grassi, it was not a place in the dual stages, and something a bit further back down the order than Altizzi he would be hoping for. Meanwhile, we saw Edo Mortara quite unlucky in the group stages to just not be able to string the lap time together that he needed to. Unfortunately for the Swiss, he will not be joining his teammates in the quarter-finals in a few moments' time. Pascal Wehrlein, though, as I said earlier on, got an absolutely brilliant lap time together. Was able to come out on the final corner, take the checkered flag as top of the class, and he will be in the quarter-finals alongside Stoffel van Dorn. So then, 8 drivers going out in this quarter-final session. They're going out in groups of 2. De Vries versus Günther up first of all. Ticktum versus Cassidy. Jake Hughes versus Mitch Evans. And Stoffel van Dorn versus Pascal Wehrlein. So we've got a plethora of different powertrains in there. Variety of different drivers. 2 Britons, of course, on home soil here as well. They'll be hoping to do well for the crowd in London. And let's see how it is all going to work out. So, Nick De Vries, he'll be out first of all. He actually had a puncture in the group stages of qualifying, DC. That's why we saw him coming into the pit lane at the end of the sessions, change over, and he made it work for himself. Got a great lap time in.
It did. Well, I'm going to assume it wasn't the front right, because as we're looking at it there, you can see a little witness mark where he's brushed up against, I assume, the chicane curve. There was no replay to say it actually tagged the wall anywhere, so unusual to get a puncture.
Yeah, that'll have a knock-on effect because they get 3 sets of tyres that they need to manage between the 3 days of this event, basically. So he's going to be a tyre down unless the Hankook people can find a way to fix it and remount it.
I think it's unlikely. You do get a joker tyre in situations such as that as well, so I wonder whether they pulled their joker, really. Yeah, it's a likely scenario. Thumbs up from Alan McNish at the back of the commentary box. There's Dan Tickton, though. No pole position so far in Formula E, but he is a race winner, if you remember back to Jakarta when he held off a fast-charging Eduardo Mortara at the end of the race. This, of course, a circuit that's it's not favoured for its overtaking opportunities, but is a circuit that Dan Tickton is actually quite fond of. And we know that this team do quite well on sort of slower speed corners, so I wonder whether they're going to be able to extract the maximum out of the car. We've also got another Porsche powertrains machine, of course, with the Tag Heuer car of Pascal Wehrlein out later on. Up first, though, quarter-final 1, Nick De Vries versus Maximilian Günther, Mahindra versus DS Penske. In terms of the Formula E predictor, 60% reckon it's going to go the way of Maximilian Günther. See how this one is going to work out. He's had 2 pole positions so far in 2025 as Günther, 1 in Jeddah and 1 in Shanghai. Nick De Vries, meanwhile, his
what
best
you smile
position
about,
was a front row back in Monaco.
You look like you're grinning like the Cheshire Cat.
So, green light comes on at the end of pit lane in a few moments' time, and Nick De Vries will come out onto the circuit. The difference between the group stages and the dual stages of qualifying, we go up from 300 to 350 kilowatts of power. We also now have all-wheel drive as well. And in the dual stages, you get 1 outlap, 1 flyer, and that's your lot.
Yeah, and that's actually going to be very telling. We saw the sort of the luxury of a few build laps in the previous part of qualifying. This is, right, your eyes in, as Kroon's pointed out. There's going to be some adjustments to be made on entry speeds because of that increased power. So it's, I don't think anyone can get a perfect lap in that situation.
No, I think that's the point, is actually how much do you risk? Because by chasing that extra percentage or 2, you can quite easily give up 5%, you know, so it's very much a risk versus reward game, and that's what racing drivers enjoy about qualifying, right, is finding that perfect balance.
See quite an aggressive outlap here for Max Günther as he's really trying to get temperature into the tyres.
Yeah, and having 4-wheel drive will help that with the front tyres, because you just get you get the extra benefit of of the power going through there and putting a bit more.
Yeah, and here we go again then, Ed and Jess, the first duel underway. De Vries v Gunther, and De Vries straight out there straight away.
Good, I wondered when you were going to finally wake up, Josh. But there we go. Yeah, there we go. De Vries, the predictor seemed to be like 60-40 in favour of Gunther, wasn't it? But De Vries has always been really strong around here, especially in qualifying. In the races, he tends to defend over aggressively. But yeah, it's good to see him in the duels here. Usually he ends up having to fight his way through the pack. The last couple of times he's been on the podium here for Mercedes, if I'm not mistaken. But he was also good for Mahindra, got a top 5 here last year as well in one of the more chaotic races. So let's have a look at these lap times then. Oh, Gunther is about 1,000 behind him. This could be a very, very close first quarter final, and De Vries is absolutely going for it.
Just 1,000 between them then as it comes through into the last 2 corners. Try and boot it up. Keep it going up towards the line. Is it going to be a good time? It's a 107.574, but will it be anything from Gunther? Yeah, here he is up to the last corner now. It's a bit up and down at the moment. 62,000's the gap. Maximilian Gunther puts it down to the metal, up towards the line. Is he quicker or not? No. De Vries goes through.
Yeah, you saw Gunther had a couple of moments where the car just wasn't responding very well in the final sectors, particularly just before it went uphill. It sort of, he had this awkward moment where he's trying to avoid the inside wall of the apex there. So yeah, some good bravery from De Vries paying off there.
It was that final sector, wasn't it? That final sector was what did it. He gained, I think, about a 10th in the final sector alone. So he looks very committed. He loves this circuit.
Next up, Dan Ticktum and Nick Cassidy.
Well, this will be interesting. Most people are voting for Cassidy, but yeah, Ticktum, he's got that little home advantage, doesn't he? So I wouldn't count him out here. I think he's going to be quite strong.
Give you some extra temps.
Still running together as they come over the line to push it down together. And into the braking zone, Ticktum and Cassidy holding it through. Ticktum sliding the rear of us much coming out of the first sector, leaving some 11s is down as well. Cassidy will bring up next. And if recent form, Jess, Ticktum should automatically progress through here. Cassidy's been fighting that Jaguar, and this is his last weekend with the team, of course, before he leaves.
Yeah, so I think Cassidy, has got a point to prove that, because he's done well in this circuit in the past. So I would have to disagree with you and go with Cassidy for this one, because he's just so more connected in the first sector, especially. He's just gaining a bit more time. Yes, he's just behind now, but watch out for that final sector. Never mind, he's gone down. So maybe Ticktum has said, you know what, if you think I can't do better, I could prove that and get better. But Cassidy's catching. It's going to be a close qualifying for quarter-final 2.
Oh, look how much more confident as he just spins the rear tyres up through the last 2 corners. That shouldn't be too harmful. But yeah, across the line he goes. 107.6, Josh. So Cassidy, I think, could take this.
Cassidy coming through to still try and find some things at the line. Up he goes. He's 31,000 differential at the moment. Is he going to have any traction? It's a bit closer to the line. And Ticktum gets it. Ticktum gets it. Cassidy again misses out. And just by a fraction, Dan Ticktum once again goes through with another superb run. Unbelievable from Dan Ticktum. So he'll progress through alongside De Vries. Next up, it's Hughes and Evans.
Not a lot of Kiro merchandise in the crowds and the grandstands, understandably, because
I think more McLaren.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah, you won that one. Close 200. Well done.
Close 200 and well done. Yeah, maybe not the best idea.
We hardly saw any of that lap.
Yeah, that's a shame. Not the best idea for my mum, who's visiting as well the nephew, and he's to decide that's the moment to FaceTime him opening his birthday presents from me and the whole family. So I had to have them on the side of the phone, constantly going like, yeah, it's cool. Which is why I was away. And then we've had a red flag in the first World Superbike race, so that's delayed things a little bit over there. So if you're wondering why it's all a bit of a mess, now you know why. Hughes and Evans into turn 1. Evans out first. Hughes is, I think, already in the first sector, but Evans is up ahead crucially.
Yep, and having seen his teammate just be knocked out, he's at least against the Stellantis powertrain, Hughes here. So, Evan, again, it's a local driver that Evans is trying to beat. Again, he's another driver that has excelled here in the past, has been on pole here in the past, and he's set a very, very strong first sector here, nearly a 10.5 up on Jake Hughes, who it just seems is sliding around in that Maserati. He's getting good speed out of it, but it's just controlling it through some of the faster corners where he's just losing a little bit of time here.
Fighting it like crazy as they fall back again into the braking zone. So Hughes' time is a 107.843 over the line as it now comes up. Evans should be quick. Oh, he's 2/10 up alone in the mini sector of 3.
Very close to the barrier.
Where did he find that, though, for 2/10 up? Evans across the line. This should be easy peasy. And Evans for the first from the second runners to go through to the semi-finals. I'm really surprised,
very
though.
good
Really.
effort. Oh.
I had a feeling it was going to be Mitch
Maserati
Evans that got through.
Yeah. Jake Hughes is another driver fighting for his drive. When he was interviewed by, I think it was Jack, one of the two Jacks at Formula E Zone this weekend, yesterday, he said, my future is quite wide open. A lot of it depends on what happens this weekend. Well, he made it to the duels at least, but he would have hoped to go a little further. Oh, Fairline, overwhelming majority in the predictor vote. Only 7% think that Van Dorn's going to beat him here.
Our previous champion, of course, from the last season for Pascal Wehrlein. Hasn't exactly had a great year to come through. As into the braking zone now for Van Dorn. Nicely through the first 1, 2 and 3. Controls it back on the accelerator. Wehrlein's going out behind him. Second in the running order. And he's coming out as well across the line and down towards turn 1. So it's just basically a question of who's hot and who's not in this sector now, isn't it? And it's again a strong performance to say that how good Maserati have been. Because I think when they first came in and started Gen 3, they weren't anywhere near there. They've slowly built themselves up, haven't they, as time's gone on?
Mm.
Yeah,
Van Dorn, of course, getting a win this season as well. Sorry, Ed, you were saying?
Yeah, well, I mean, they have to, like you say, Jess, they have taken a few wins, courtesy of Max Gimfer and, of course, Stoffel Van Dorn with the pit boost strategy in the rain. There's a little bit of luck involved, but he still had to make it work and very nearly threw it away as well. As we see, Van Dorn is still pushing on this lap to try and keep even keel with Pascal Wehrlein. But yeah, of course, it's a team that is basically being propped up by Formula E themselves at the moment, the Maserati sports group. So there's a lot of possibility they might not be around next season. Wehrlein is over a 10th up, nearly 2/10 up then. So again, his speed coming to the fore here, and you've got to say Van Dorn's chances look remote here.
Over the line, Wehrlein goes through. Van Dorn misses out by a 10th of a second. So Wehrlein now goes in as well to face Evans. Coincidentally, they both were second out on the track. Whether that puts it as its evolution of the track, I'm not entirely 100% sure. But either way, a mighty good performance there on the deck. So, keeps on going. I'm now concerned about the World Superbike race interfering with the start of F1 qualifying, just as a heads up. That could be a possibility.
I think Dorna might be as well.
Yeah.
Tires for sector were a bit shocking. Yeah, I can imagine, so warm them.
Yeah, so just information.
What did he say though?
I didn't know actually either. He wasn't helping.
The curbs in the last sector were a bit bucking, I think was what I hope he said.
They would have bleeped it if it was anything worse, unless they. Then again,
unless they were like thinking code words.
Well, then again, the man who did bleep the team radios to be put on TV is currently the man who's commentating on the F2 sprint race for us. So yeah, Jake Santon, of course, used to work in the team radio department at the start of the year. Left after Saudi Arabia and has joined. He's got a free weekend, so he's with us for the action. So Ticktum and De Vries, Evans and Wehrlein. That's a tasty semi-finals. And that's coming up in around about 10 minutes' time. Right, let's head back down to the world feed once more and join in the latest action.
Stan Ticktum versus Nick De Vries, Mitch Evans versus Pascal Wehrlein. Then will go head-to-head against one another. Two from each of those groups will go into the finals in that fight for pole. So then, an air of silence and calm falls over the ExCeL Centre in London as the fans watch on in the grandstands They have been treated to some great racing and some Dan Ticktum supporters in the grandstands as well. Not that this man, I'm sure, will be taking too much notice of what's on the TV screen at the moment. He'll just be getting himself psyched up and ready to go. That was probably the biggest upset we saw from the quarterfinals. Dan Ticktum out qualifying Nick Cassidy.
Yeah, I mean, Cassidy's group stages was super impressive, wasn't he? He was so strong.
Yeah, well, I managed to jinx him by saying I'll see him in the final, but yeah, we'll wait to hear from him what exactly happened when it came to just unloading it in one lap. When you were mentioning, Karun, about the extra speed that we'd have on the entry when you've got extra power on the four-wheel drive, what sort of distances are we looking at in terms of having to brake early? A couple of meters, or?
I think you know, when you're looking at something like turn 16, you've got four-wheel drive that's punch you out of this bus stop chicane even quicker. You've got more power, so you probably need to brake 5-8 meters at least earlier, don't you?
How do you adjust your brain to that? I know being a professional racing driver, you have to adapt to changes pretty much on the fly, but it does probably seem quite counterintuitive to have to brake earlier for a corner.
I guess it's no different from if you pick up a slipstream on in normal circuit racing and you suddenly arrive there with, you know, an extra 10 kilometres or sometimes even more.
That's probably why when I go racing I end up digging up 3 pounds of potatoes in the nearest field. It's the same breaking points.
Yeah, what do you do with those potatoes? Because you famously dislike potatoes.
This is true. Actually, I've snooped myself here, haven't I? I didn't think about the repercussions of my sentence.
Only man that I know that doesn't like anything that's derived from a tatty.
No, I know. I wouldn't fit in very well in Scotland, would I?
No.
Well, yeah, unfortunate for me. But there we are. Anyway, Nick de Vries, we're out in semi-final one in a few moments' time. He'll be going head-to-head with Dan Ticktum, as we said. Mitch Evans as well. Fantastic lap time from him. And Pascal Wehrlein. So we've got 2 Porsche powertrains in the semi-finals, 1 Mahindra and 1 Jaguar. So you can say the momentum is with Porsche in terms of numbers. But is it going to be like that when we get into the session? Little reminder of the Teams Championship, you can see that Takoy Porsche have a 23 points advantage over Nissan. Another 3 points on offer here for pole position as well, and all that falls, of course, on Pascal Wehrlein. To build that gap up to 26 points. So let's see whether he can do that as we look here at Mitch Evans in the zone, getting himself ready to go for the semi-finals. Start in about 5 minutes' time. So we look at Mitch Evans in the pit box here, ready to go for the semi-finals. He'll be out second of the groups with Pascal Wehrlein, Dan Ticktum versus Nick de Vries. One driver, though, who will not be in the semi-finals is Nick Cassidy. An absolute shocker for him, getting out-qualified by Dan Ticktum at a track where he was on pole position 12 months ago. We caught up with him a few moments ago to find out his thoughts.
Nick Cassidy, 17 thousandths of a second just separating you and Dan. What a tight battle you guys had.
Yeah, I mean, it's whatever. I had zero grip. I don't know, I think, you know, said let's keep the tyres warm and maybe we put them in ice buckets or something, so might need to look at that.
Something you can look at for the race then?
Nah, it's not really relevant for the race.
And then heading into a pit boost race this afternoon, you did win it in Berlin. You must be feeling a little bit more positive about that.
No, I'm pissed off. I mean, we had the best car. I think I was the quickest guy today. It was clear in group quali, and I've just been completely screwed, so I'm pissed off.
Thank you, Nick. Jake Hughes, through to the duels at a home race. Are you pleased with that?
Yes and no. I actually felt like I had the pace today. I should have been further up, but it was strange. In practice, we were actually we looked quicker on 350 than we did on 300. So when we got into the duels, I was thinking, right, that's time to go now, but I think we missed something between the practice session and quali in terms of, or even on the in-lap from the groups in terms of how to keep some temp in the tyre, because I just couldn't wake it back up when I went on the out-lap for the duels. So slipping and sliding a little bit, and managed to put some kind of lap together, but it wasn't enough.
We're looking ahead to a pit boost race this afternoon. How are you guys feeling about that one?
Anxious.
Why?
No, it's just, I think we're expecting a pretty chaotic race. I think safety car and full course yellow could come into it a little bit during the pit stop phase as well. You know, I think only 13 cars finished the race last year, something like that. So incidents, be about picking the right time to get some clean air and hopefully time the pit stop well.
Best of luck, Jake. Thank you. Stoffel van Dorn, 2 Maseratis into the top 8. That's a pretty good showing from qualifying today.
Yeah, it's decent. I've had a little bit of tricky qualifyings lately, so it's good to have both cars up there. Unfortunately, we just missed out on the 350 laps in the duels, but I think we're closer than we've usually been. Usually, the 350 laps have been a bit of a struggle for us, but we're quite close. I'm a tenth and a half behind Pascal. He's obviously one of the references in qualifying always. So yeah, I think it's a decent qualifying. Yeah, we needed that today. It's going to be important for the race today with the pit boost and stuff. So hopefully we can score points with both cars.
And Jake's saying that he's expecting a bit more of a chaotic race with pit boost. Do you think having both of you up there will end up benefiting you at all?
Well, let's see. We just got to stay out of trouble. We got to play smart and try and do as good as we can. To be honest, it's definitely going to be a little bit chaotic before the pit boost. But once that is settled, then I think it's going to be a pretty fast race.
Exciting stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, good to hear there from Stoffel van Dorn and a few of the other drivers. Apologies, by the way, for some of the fruity language from Nick Cassidy in that interview. He said the tyres needed to go into an ice bucket. Well, I think he probably should do the same and cool off after that qualifying session, because he was not best pleased, was Nick Cassidy. Understandably so. A lot of pressure on his shoulders this weekend, as you see the fans enjoying the experience here at the XL Centre in London. And now we shift our focus over to the dual stages of qualifying once again, over to the semi-finals. So quarterfinals, just to remind you, we had De Vries versus Gunther, Tictum and Cassidy, Hughes and Evans, Van Dorn and Verline. The upshot is, in semi-final 1, it's going to be Dan Tictum versus Nick De Vries. And semi-final 2 will have Mitch Evans and Pascal Verline. Only 2 drivers can go through from those stages, and they will join the front row fight in those all-important 3 points for pole position. Semi-final 1 then coming up. Dan Tictum for Cupra Kiro, Nick De Vries for Mahindra. In terms of the numbers, Nick De Vries has been in the semi-finals 3 times this year, and he's 3-0, not in his favour, I'm afraid to say. He's seeking his second only career appearance in a dual final. Tictum, though, is attempting to reach consecutive dual finals. Of course, he was in there in Berlin a couple of weeks ago. Still eludes him, though, that first ever pole position. Well, for Dan Tictum, it's a case of just doing what he did 10 minutes ago, isn't it, really?
Yeah, that won't be enough, because, if Nick De Vries does what he did 10 minutes ago, that was in the past tense. Good point. Well, so Tictum's going to have to find a little bit more and hope that De Vries doesn't, basically.
Well, that's easier said than done, really, isn't it, as well, to have the 2 differentials between it. Okay, you two, back with us as well. Jess, start with you. This is going to be interesting. De Vries versus Tictum. Who goes through?
Oh, this is tough, but I'm going to go bold and go De Vries.
Whoa, Tictum cut the chicane.
Oh.
On this outlap. That's concerning.
If he can't brake, that's going to be a little bit more as well.
Could just be the brakes getting into temperature, or he could have just made a small mistake there. But yeah, it looks like a bit of overexcitement. Let's see a replay of it. Oh, he just... It didn't look like anything too dramatic. Oh, a big lockup beforehand. Of course, that's what
Oh, no.
Took the alternative chicane.
Well, that's not going to destroy the tyres too much. They're pretty hardy. So, yeah, I think Tictum's still got a good chance here. He just needs to make sure that he doesn't leave an inch to Nick De Vries here. This is going to be really fascinating.
Away we go, down towards turn number 1. Then we ride with Tictum. I've just got Sanson and Omi on in the side, and the other commentary box camera as well.
Ignore them.
Ignore them. They've got 2 to go, and they've had a cracking race as well. Fantastic that Sanson's had a great debut as a lead commentator for our channel. As we ride side by side now. De Vries is live, Tictum isn't, but already in the first mini sector, De Vries has got the better advantage, Ed.
Yeah, always a little easier to take too much speed into turn 1 and be up at the split, though. So let's see. We'll get the full story when we get a bit further in the lap, I think. The next split here. There we go. De Vries still ahead by a tenth and a half then. So Tictum up against it here. He had that giant killing feed, didn't he? As he's gained a little bit in the first part of Sector 2 here as they clobber the curb, and it looks like De Vries has lost a little bit of time over the curbs. Ticktum much more confident through the high-speed direction change.
De Vries is going to be a lot faster as Ticktum flies in on the inside line. I can tell you that De Vries' time was a 1:07. I can't actually see the rest of it as Ticktum flies through up towards the line now as well. Let's see. Into the braking zone then. He's up by 1/10 of a second at the moment. Ticktum looked like he was quicker at the last corner though. It's going to be very much even. Steven, 6 thousandths across the line. What's the difference?
De Vries ahead.
De Vries ahead by 9 thousandths. 9 thousandths of a second separating, but it is De Vries who will go through to the final for Mahindra. How about that?
Yeah, well, big turn up there, but of course I did say De Vries was quite strong around here. But yeah, Ticktum just missing out by a narrow margin. He gave it a good effort there, but he will start no better than 3rd or 4th on the grid, depending on how the other semi-final goes. But yeah, this could be a big deal for Nick De Vries, as he's still seeking that first win since,
ages.
Berlin Season 8, I believe, was his last win.
Really, it's a long time ago, isn't it?
He did have a year out, though, to be fair, when he did F1. But there we go, 70% predicted Verline will beat Evans in semi-final 2.
Away we go as Evans into the braking zone for turn number 1. Hucks the apex up nicely as well, a little close to the barrier, exit 2 as he comes into 3 and then 4, out into the openness for the first time. London eyes on the prize, says Ticktum. They want to go Porsche for the team's championship, and of course they're on as well, but it was back to turn 1, Jess.
Yeah, it looks a bit very slidey from him as well, but like Gabe was saying, it may come down to a few moments of that. But I was looking at Ticktum on the outlap, and I think due to the fact that he overcooked the tyres and he struggled with his outlap, that's what cost him a chance to get through to the final. Whereas I think it's going to be even Stevens between these guys, Evan and Verline. But Verline, of course, won the championship here like 1 year ago, and he always likes pressure, doesn't he? But he hardly has any pressure this weekend, apart from he wants to win the team championship. So he's got to get a good result. But this is not going to be good if he's only 2 tenths down on Mitch Evans.
Holding through. Let's see what Evans' time's going to be then as they fly in out of the last corners up to the line. Evans takes the flag and it's a 1:07.301. Verline in turn is 1/10 of a second down on his best time.
Oh no, that's not good.
I don't think it's going to be anything for Verline here. Over the line, he's catching.
Oh, it's close.
Oh, did he hit the wall?
I think he touched it briefly.
He might have brushed it, yeah. 34,000
Evans
off.
through.
So it's Evans who will go through to the final. That means Ticktum will start 4th. Verline will start 3rd. No, other way around, surely. Ticktum start, I don't know, 1:07.
Who got the quickest lap?
Ticktum.
Yeah, so Ticktum will start 3rd.
Yeah.
Still not bad for him, considering if you get through to the semi-finals, you're going to start in a good position regardless. With a track like London, maybe 3rd or 4th, not too bad, like we saw last year.
Yeah, Move City, wasn't it? Especially with the attack mode.
Especially with the pit boost as well.
Yes, yeah.
That might change things as well.
Just under half 10, but that's all it needs. So we're through to the final. Good job, mate. Good job.
Good job indeed, through to the final. And that's
Evans
coming
versus De Vries.
That's an unusual final one, isn't it? To come through again. 2 old rivals. Don't see them together that much anymore.
Nope.
So let's head back down to the World Feed as we get ready for the final to come up shortly.
Than that, believe it or not, of Mitch Evans.
Jaguar are having a comeback, aren't they? You know, compared to the early part of the season where they were, at one point, they were down in 8th or 9th in the championship. And it does look like the performance is starting to come back to where we would have expected to see them earlier on the season.
Yeah, they'll be delighted for that. So a reminder of how we got to the semi-finals. Then we had Dan Ticktum versus Nick De Vries up first of all, and Mitch Evans versus Pascal Verline. The upshot is Pascal Verline is out of qualifying and will not be able to get those all-important 3 points in the team's championship for the Jaguar Porsche team. The final is De Vries versus Evans.
It just feels that this might favour Evans as having been the last person on track. You know, De Vries is sort of sitting there cooling off, watching the action, looking at that lap time and going, okay, I need to do something special. That was an amazing drift out of that chicane there up towards the wall.
I hope we get to see an on-board comparison of the semi-final laps between De Vries and Evans, mainly just because I want to watch and see how fine the margins were with Evans. Given that camera angle, you'd say he's not leaving much room for error.
Yeah, no, I don't think there would have been much room between the side of the car and the wall on that exit.
Yeah, no doubt about it. So, preparation stations then.
We are against De Vries in the final, who did a 7.64. So we had pretty tense on him in the semi.
Oh, rinse and repeat time then for Mitch Evans. There's Joseph Rocker, his race engineer, just in the middle of your picture. And I'm sure they'll be chatting away, trying to work out the best solution for the finals in a few moments' time. Nick de Vries, this is great for him to be quite as high up the order as he is. And we'll see whether he is going to be able to fight for pole position. Last pole position for Nick de Vries would have been Dirrier 2022. So that was back in the Gen 2 era, long time ago. Yeah. Fans watching on then in the grandstands, the pensive wait ahead of the finals. Great to see so many fans here in Formula E this weekend.
Yeah, it's nearly full for qualifying, isn't it? It should be good for the race later on.
Yeah, 5 o'clock local time when the E-Prix gets underway. We do get the side-by-side comparison then between Nick de Vries and Mitch Evans. This is from the semi-finals. Obviously a bit less snappy on the braking phase there for Nick de Vries into turn 1. What else can we pick out from this here, Karun?
Yeah, I mean, the car looks calmer, doesn't it? The Mahindra on the left definitely looks calmer. There's a lot more kickback and just sort of corrections and micro corrections from Evans, although out of 9 out of the straight there for de Vries, a little bit moment. And then at the chicane, it seems like he went a little bit deep on the first apex, but still carried decent momentum. So how they react over the jumps. I think the Jaguar is very good in terms of compliance, though, over those bumps and jumps. You know, he's got to that apex ahead of de Vries. That's where he's made up a chunk of time. And you can see just how much earlier Evans is getting to those apexes on the right. You realise he's pulled the time. De Vries, a little bit of a mistake on the penultimate corner. And again at the last one. So yeah, you can see where the 3 tenths was. It wasn't in the sort of first half of the lap. It all came as the lap unfolded.
So then, not long to go until we get the finals underway here in London for round 15. One man who will not be competing in it, sadly, is Dan Tickton. He was the last remaining hope for the British fans this weekend for qualifying. Unfortunately, he was outperformed by Nick de Vries in the first of the semi-finals, and we caught up with him a few moments ago.
Dan Tickton, 9 thousandths off making it into the final, matching your best start here in London at your home race. Are you happy?
Yeah, medium.
Why medium?
Well, I'm probably saw on the outlap, I sort of had a little bit of an issue with the brakes and went straight on. I don't think that really affected much, but I wasn't able to load the tyre through that chicane, so maybe lost a bit of temp, but it was mainly the lap. Sector 1 was a bit scruffy, but we tried something a bit different with the car. The track was not as we expected yesterday compared to the sim and stuff like that, so we tried something out, and it's really tough to drive. Honestly, I can't. It's very difficult for me to get a lap out of it. It's quite unpredictable, but no. Overall, top 5 is good enough to start here. Obviously with the pit boost as well. So hopefully let a couple of guys in front sort of battle a bit and save some energy. And yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Thank you, Dan.
Yeah, thank you to Dan, remaining somewhat optimistic in the face of adversity after that qualifying session. A bit disappointed with that, I'm sure, for the British driver, but hoping for a strong performance here this afternoon.
I just get the feeling that he's just been building, well, he's never been lacking in confidence, but I just feel that he's been sort of building in belief in the team and just generally in himself, really. And so, therefore, there's a lot of positives, and that's coming through.
A lot of positives here this weekend as well. The fans loving the fan village here this weekend. Lots of things to do for all of the family. Hopefully you'll be coming down here tomorrow and enjoying part of the atmosphere as well, because it really is fantastic to be here at the XL in London. The fans...
Or later today, because the good thing is you can get the tube and come down.
Well, that is true. Good point.
Watch quality at home and pop down for it.
Yeah, 5 p.m.
Are you a tuber?
I took the tube down. Yeah, it was very easy.
Are you a tuber or an Uber?
Well, I came by riverboat.
Did you?
Yeah. So many different ways to get here.
Was that your own personal riverboat?
No. It was provided by London Transport.
What a fun way to get about. I like that. Taking full advantage of the Thames. James Barclay, final weekend for him at the helm of the Jaguar TCS racing team. He's off to McLaren's hypercar effort in the World Endurance Championship after this one, and it would be lovely for him to go out with a strong result. He's been a big presence in the paddock over the last 9 years and will be very sorely missed. Whilst we're waiting to get the finals underway, let's catch up with the Season 10 World Champion Pascal Wehrlein. He was out-qualified by Mitch Evans by just a few 100ths of a second in the semi-finals.
Pascal Wehrlein just missing out on those 3 points for pole, but you're the highest placed car in that championship fight. How are you feeling?
Happy. I mean, P3 is a good starting position. It was super tight. My lap was good. Just a bit of an issue in turn 1, which we have already the whole weekend. But it was super tight. I mean, could have gone either way, 300s. But we started from P3 last year and we won, so I think we can still be happy.
That's a good sign for things to come this afternoon. And we've got Pit Boost coming up. How are you feeling about that?
Good to hear there from Pascal Wehrlein, hoping to extract the maximum for the Tag Heuer Porsche team here this afternoon. So then, we go ready for the finals. Nick de Vries versus Mitch Evans. Mahindra versus Jaguar. Evans had 3 tenths of advantage in his lap time in the semi-finals a few moments' time. So the momentum certainly with the Kiwi, especially considering, one, he was on pole here 12 months ago and was also on pole a fortnight ago in Berlin. But this is a tricky circuit and one that is easy to make mistakes on. It just takes that one error and your competitor will gain advantage. Nick de Vries will lead the 2 drivers out onto the circuit, so comes out ready to go for this one. Mahindra.
Yep, it is final time to see who's going to take pole position, de Vries or Evans. Jess, if you've got you for a sec, what do you think? Who's going to take pole position for this one?
Oh, those are 2 really great drivers, but I think based on like pure pace around here in the past, I'm going to go with Mitch Evans. I think he's got it.
Well, Evans is certainly the safe option. I'm going to go different and to go with de Vries.
Oh.
I really hope, Ed, by the way, you do get to go to the race tomorrow because that would be fantastic for you.
Yeah, we just sort of popped out of the blue in the middle of us not commentating there.
Friend of mine at the race.
Yeah, a friend of mine at the race who is there with McLarenable team. He's basically said, "Oh, do you want free tickets for the race?" And I said, "Oh, well, if I'm not expecting anything, but if you could get one, that'd be amazing." He said, "Yeah." Admin lady said, "Yeah, go on, and she'll send me an email and I'll forward it to you, and then you can go tomorrow." So, yeah, that sounds amazing. But anyway, still fun on the go. Yeah, let's see if de Vries can disappoint me immediately here.
Just hopping on a train, don't worry. I'll see you in London to come through.
Yeah, sorry, and after this commentary, I'm going to go immediately to get prep for the morning. Nah,
Well, we've got plenty of commentators for tomorrow anyway.
Yeah, we're fine.
I'm sure the Fantastic Three will, two will help cope with that.
Sure, Sanson.
And we got JT.
And Sanson's around somewhere as well, yeah.
Yes, we got the Fab Four. The Fantastic Four.
Oh,
there we go.
Here we go. you went Beatles. You went the Beatles route there. Yes. There we go. So it was train we're not racing in Liverpool. That'd be another great.
That would be good, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, Evans 4 thousandths down after the first split. De Vries marginally up. He hasn't messed up so far. Although, having said that, Evans now pulls 24 thousandths clear as they start the middle sector through the chicanes.
Can de Vries get pole position and return as well? He's a champion for days gone by. Can he actually return? He's a little bit squiggly coming into the inside section. Evans is ahead by a little bit, but de Vries late on the brakes. Yeah, de Vries has got it back. So rear locking doesn't matter. This is going to be super tight up towards the line. Is it going to be de Vries or Evans to come in now to the last 2 corners up towards the line? It's too close to call, but on exit, Evans straightens up first over the line together. Evans is on pole for the first London E-Prix. 107.205. De Vries is a 107.379. Evans has it. Didn't expect that.
I think braking so late from De Vries handed that one to Evans, really. But yeah, fantastic driving from Mitch Evans nonetheless. And that's another career pole for him. And that puts him and Jaguar in very good stead as they try and get up to third in the team's championship.
Race 1 is going to be very, very, very good. I can't wait to see what's going to happen. Race 2, hopefully, is going to be good. And, yeah. So,
I'll tell you about it when I get back tomorrow.
Does that mean you're going to be...
please do.
Would you be in McLaren, or is it just in the general admission? I don't know.
I think in one of the grandstands, is what I was saying.
Oh.
That's not bad, that, right? We'll take that.
Yeah, McLaren actually have a hospitality zone at the last corner here this weekend.
That could be it then. Oh, we'll see. I haven't got the email yet because my friend is going to forward it to me from McLaren. So once she's done tweeting about this quali session, then I see.
What a session. What a atmosphere to come through. Evans on pole position then to come into it. A big yes from the garage as well. Well, right now, the F2 has just finished. Also coming in as well, we've got the ending of the World Superbikes. They are on lap 11 of 20 right now, so just into their half distance with only 12 riders left.
Sweet pole position. Lovely. Good work, guys.
He's just a little bit calm,
Best
isn't he?
Oscar Piastri impression, I think. The Antipodeans all trying to be relaxed and calm about future success.
Oscar was a bit more furious this morning, I reckon, after not beating Max Verstappen in the F1 sprint now, so he's a bit up and down on it.
I still never quali session again.
Yeah, coming up in about an hour's time, actually, that one. It's weird how everything's sort of disjointed this weekend for F1. So it's sort of slotting things in between.
So it's quali at 3, is that right?
Yes, Formula 1 qualifying is at 3 o'clock. We're on it at 2:45, and then it's London E-Prix at 4:30. Lights out at 5.
Busy.
Yeah. And then I've got the Xfinity race tonight as well. And then we've got to be up at 6. So we go to bed about 1, and we've got to be up at 6:30. So it's a long weekend to come into it. Jaguar has taken the last 5 consecutive poles at the London E-Prix. Maybe we should have put money on Evans, though, to be fair, judging by that bet. See all the people who are doing the social media admin team on their phones, locking themselves in. Wonderful atmosphere here. Let's head down then to the paddock and get the latest news. By the way, if you two want to leave now so you can get things done, we're going to end it with the world feed, so I'll get final thoughts now. You can both pop off and get some food. Jess, starting with you, what did you make of quali?
I think Evans deserved it out there, but the question is who's going to win in the London E-Prix later on today. I think it could be anyone's game with the amount of overtakes we have seen in the last few years, it being in London. So looking forward to it, and I'll see you later for FE, but see you in about an hour for F1.
See you in an hour, Jess. Ed, what about you?
Yeah, I guess I'll be watching you guys commentate on F1, but yeah, I think a very good pole out from Evans. I think De Vries might surprise some people there, but he, like I said, he always seems to pull something out the back here in London, and it's good to see him nearly snatch pole position there on that final effort. In terms of the race, we got pit boost coming up, and I think with track position being so key here, it's all going to be about who gets out of traffic and into clear air, essentially. I think that's going to decide who wins it. So could be wide open. I suspect it's one of the top 5 or 6 is going to win it.
Here's Mitch.
I'm glad to change it this weekend. A bit late than ever. Yeah, obviously very happy for the result, the points. A huge boost for everyone on the team. Obviously Nick's up there as well. So yeah, with obviously starting to make some momentum in the right direction, the last couple of weekends, and hopefully we can convert starting on pole into a good result.
Pole position here last year also. What is it that you're able to find in this London track?
I mean, I love street tracks, and this one's a really challenging one, and it throws everything at you. You need a lot of confidence. You need to string the whole lap together. There's a lot of corners that flow into one another, so it's all about kind of rhythm. I didn't really I had that in the groups, but in the duels was starting to come towards me a bit more, and yeah, obviously left the best to last, which is nice.
Jaguar have been the top scorers across the last 4 race weekends by quite a margin. Are we going to see you shaking things up in the team's championship this weekend?
That's the plan.
Well, perfect. Good luck for that. It's time to present you with the Julius Baer Pole Position Trophy presented by the Head of Relationship Management, Raj Ratan.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Mitch Evans.
So we have our grid. It's going to be Evans, De Vries, Verline, Tictum, Cassidy, Gunther, Van Dorn, Hughes, Mortara, Muller, the top 10. Then Dennis, Roland, Beckman, Barnard, Verne, Nato, Da Costa, Boemi, Friends, Bird, Degrassi, and Maloney, who takes it. My thanks to Ed, my thanks to Jess, my thanks to all of you at home. We'll be back later for the E-Prix at London, round 15 of the season. Take care. Bye-bye.